we catch up with the former Mpumalanga MEC for Cooperative Governance, Human Settlements and Traditional Affairs, Mandla Msibi. He's a close ally of Mabuza and a former ANC provincial treasurer. Msibi reflects on the political journey together, and SABC News reporter Nhlamulo Mabasa sits down with him in an interview in Pienaar for an exclusive conversation reflecting on Mabuza's legacy and his leadership. You may continue. I do understand that you're speaking to Mandla Msibi in Pienaar, reflecting on the life and leadership of the late David Mabuza.
Right now we are joined, like we rightfully said in your intro, we are joined by the suspended treasury of the ANC in the province, Mandla Msibi. This is a man who had a very close relationship with the former Deputy President. They have ever since in the 80s, as he told me. But for more on this and to get the reactions and actually to understand their relationship, now we are joined by him. Good morning and welcome, and thank you for your time. Let's start with the reaction on how you received the news of his passing.
Morning, thanks for the opportunity, and morning to your viewers.
Your reaction when you received the news of the former Deputy President David Mabuza?
First, I did not believe, because you remember previously it was said at some point he has passed on. So I thought it was that kind of enigma where people will say somebody's passed away. So up until I got calls from people whom are also very close to him, that's when I started to believe.
Now, I think everybody wants to know. Let's talk about your relationship with him. You've known this man ever since the early 80s. Some believe, actually let's say most believe, that your leadership style is the very same way that the former president used to rule, or rather lead, whether here in Mpumalanga when he was the premier and also when he was the MEC. Let's talk about how you know him on a personal level and politically.
Yeah, he was my teacher in the late 80s in a school called Begiswago High School in an area called Mahushu. He taught me science and mathematics. That's why I started to knew him, and then I had to move in 1991 back home to Pienaar. And he also thought he was a teacher here in Pienaar, in one of the school, Lehau Secondary School and Sbuile Primary School. So our relationship was a relationship of a brother and a young boy, or a father and a son. That's how we relate. But it doesn't mean that we never differed or have different opinions in approach of political things and other many other issues. I differed with him a lot, but it's one person who will give an opportunity to listen. At times we took it to the street, if you remember, in Pienaar. We took it to the street. He was a premier. We said, don't want him. He's not taking care of people of Pienaar. And what he did, he came to Pienaar. He talked to us. He asked us what we wanted. I remember by that time, most young people here are not working, high percentage. So we said we wanted the youth center. But with this leadership, he said, you've got two chiefs here, Msoko and Tanj. Instead of building one, let me build two youth centers. He has built 2 youth centers. There was a problem where kids were knocked down by cars who were traveling from an area called Nkagini to Nhlapu. I personally phoned him. I said, there's a problem. He intervened, and when he came, he said, I must build 2 schools. We've got Mtopi and we've got Prince HR Secondary School. So it's one person, when he has promised, or if he will promise to do something, it was practical. That's how I have related with him very well.
You know, Mabuza is leaving a void. You know, ever since he passed away from Thursday, we've been going to the communities where people say he built houses for them, he built schools, it seems like on the ground he changed a lot of lives, besides from the men that we know politically. So the void that he lives, do you think there's anyone in the current leadership in the province who will take over the kind of power and the kind of support that he enjoyed on the ground in Mpumalanga?
Well, an individual being in this world is not comparable to any person. I think he has made his own contribution, and very, very immense. And you will agree with me, some received his passing or his departure with mixed reaction. Some were saying that he was a ruthless person. Some, it depends on how we have related with him. So as it relates to anybody emulating him, I usually don't compare people leadership style. So it will be difficult for me to say, is there anyone in the current leadership who can take over in his boots? It will be really very difficult for me to say that.
Fair enough. Last night, you did say that last night you were at the family home to receive his body. But we saw a lot of people that were camping outside, some who we haven't seen in the political arena, those who were actually maybe former MECs, those who had higher positions in the province. So do you think, actually, what do you make of that, now they come to surface, but they were nowhere to be seen all along?
Well, what I know is that Comrade Titi work with many people, and as the evolution of time, others will want to join other parties, Yongrai, Yoskemekeme, and many other people who join him. But as a person that have contributed to their life, in African tradition, when somebody has passed away, especially somebody that has contributed to your life, you have to go and pay homage visit and homage respect and pay some condolences to the family. So that's how we'll define it in terms of those people that are visiting there.
Okay. And then when we now go back to the former Deputy President, what kind of a legacy do you think he leaves behind and will be remembered by, and you wish it could be taken forward?
In the context of practicality, I remember in between 2009 and 10, when he was a premier, in his early days as a premier, he spoke in one of the State of the Province address about farm schools, if you remember. That children suffering in the farms, because he was very fond of education. Children was finding it difficult in the farms and all of that. And he intervened. He promised, he made in his statement that he will construct boarding schools. You know, we've got many boarding schools in the province, I'm sure 4 of them. So in relation to be responsive to issues of service delivery and humanity, because over and above that, he has helped many students with bursaries. And I happen to be an elections manager in the province. I'm sure from 2017 till 2022 or 23. Every time we'll be doing door-to-door with him. If we arrive to a home where there's a challenge, he will intervene immediately. But I learned from him that you can respond to situation with immediate effect. Even outside the framework of government, he would coordinate people who do business. I remember in some instances we went to areas, I'm not going to mention names, because if you help a person, then you mention that we help 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It means you are dehumanizing that particular individual. But the homes we went, those homes were dilapidated, they were not finishers. And he will call me and said, Mandla, please come here, let's intervene here. In a month or 2, a house will be constructed, will be finished. He will ask a kid, what are you doing? A kid will say, no, I've passed my matric, I don't have money. He will talk to the people who are running his foundation, and the kid will go to school. So in relation to issues of responsiveness, he was above board.
Oh, beautiful. Just a few last ones. Mabuza is accredited for unifying the party in the province and in other provinces as well. What is your comment on that?
You see, I remember when President Mbeki was presenting our Tambo memorial lecture, he spoke about this thing. He said, I hear this day people speak about the unit, but you need to onward. But precisely to be truth is that he's one person at all material times. He will preach unity. When we went to the conference of 2017, you remember there was this phenomenon of unity outside politics, of slate and all of that. So at all material times, even if you are home, he will call you, I will get this call. I know that maybe angry, but please keep on doing. We invested a lot in you. Will be that kind of a person. I'm saying that to me. I don't know to others, because we're many. There might be other people who might have other views about him. But from where I know him, this is what I can say about him.
Okay. And last but not least, you are still suspended.
Yeah.
We still don't know your future within politics in the province. And from what we can say is you have been sidelined in the ANC. And what are your pronouncements going into the future? We are going into the local government elections next year. What is the future for you with regards to that?
That question must refer to the Office of the Secretary General. Yes. You remember my matter went to the PDC, and then after that we appealed, it went to the SG. The person who pronounced results was the SG. So the rightful office to respond on my matters of ANC participation and membership rests with the Office of the Secretary General. As for the local government elections, you know, any elections poses various challenges. From where I see, from where I look, this is going to be one of the most difficult elections. The people are now politically aware. They need services from those that they have elected. They need people who are courageous, who will call them into meetings of the communities, not only for service delivery, but for us, the issues of social ills and all of that. There are crimes in the community. And from where I am now, truth is that people are dissatisfied about service delivery and many other issues. So any party that wants to win elections must be able to occupy that space, because the basis of any revolution is to alter the needs of society that you are serving.
With what you are saying, as to a follow-up of what you are saying, that people actually, what they want right now is service. I mean, the last elections, the ANC got 51%. Do you feel maybe now going into the next government elections, local government elections, with everything that is happening now, with the previous results, with the passing of the former Deputy President, because even though he was now on a national platform, he was still very much involved in the politics and making sure that the people of Mpumalanga still support the ANC. Do you think, what kind of an impact that do you think this is going to have going into the local government elections?
It will have a very huge negative impact. Look, Titi, in his homestead, you know his homestead?
Yes.
He's got a fleet of assistance or aiding to the ANC in the form of trucks, bakkies and all of that. He will even help students in institution in SASCO. He will even help throughout the country. And you see, this will leave a void, because the first question will be, who is going out to be responsible for that kind of fleet in the farm? That's the first question. So that is going to be a challenge. But secondly, he was one person, when he appears, you can say anything about DD, but when he appears to the masses, he will appease with the masses. Because he will simply understand what the masses want and then practically respond to that. And if something will not be done immediately, he will respond that we'll look into this matter, we'll come back to respond to the matter. So losing him will have a negative impact to the African National Congress. But we hope that those that were leading the ANC, because you've got leadership of the ANC in the province nationally, they will see to finish that they win elections. Remember, I'm a suspended member of the ANC. I'm not an ANC member currently.
I understand, but it doesn't change the fact that in your home still, there's still people that come here you feed, people who support the ANC, people who believe, you know. So what I want to understand is, from the background, will you be garnering support for them?
I'm not going to speak about ANC matters, but I'm going to speak about how I think we can help people as humankind in variety of ways. Every day people come to my house with variety of skills. I'm born and bred here. So most of my relatives, I can say more than 80% of people stay here are my relatives or extended relatives. And I don't only help my relatives. As you're saying, every day I'm with people. At times we don't need to help them material. Just social, we are able to talk to our people. In some cases, you've got household children who don't have parents. That's why we've created a foundation to respond to those particular matters. So I will keep on helping people. As to who I am going to support in the local government elections, it will only happen at a time when I become political active in the African National Congress. And I think that will be the right time where I'll make the determination. So as for garnering support for any party now, I'm not going to support any party. I'm a suspended member. I can't speak on ANC matters.
Mr. Msibi, thank you so much, and condolences on the loss and everything else. We shall talk as time goes by. There you have it, Griselda. The man spoke a mouthful. You could hear how they have a personal relationship and how deep their relationship goes. Griselda.
Nhlamulo, thank you very much for bringing that to us. Of course, speaking to a number of people who've had those close relations with the late former Deputy President of the country, that being, of course, being Mandla Msibi, speaking to you in a BNR, reflecting on the life and times of David Mabuza. All right, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with more news. Stay with us here on SABC News.